So I received a question about the gradebook, and so I thought I'd just pop it in here so everyone could see my response. There are a few frustrating things, but I'll show you kind of some of my workarounds in order to get that to maximize my time in when I'm grading. So the first question was, if you scroll down to the bottom, you notice that there's 20 per page. If you click on that option, you can either do 10 or 20. Uh, while helpful, I have 30, 32 students in my class. 20 per page means I have to look at two different pages at the full gradebook. So not very helpful. So one thing that I like to do is I like to use the gradebook just kind of for viewing, and then I like to check on which assignment I'm going to grade, and I'll show you that. Because when you grade a particular assignment, you can take it to 50 plus. So that works really well. So I'll show you that in a second. So one thing I like to do is on this page, and if I switch to spreadsheet view, it even makes it smaller. You're only allowed about 5 per page. And the reason why is it has to load so much. So Brightspace by D2L, who hosts iLearn 3, have coded it this way. So the only way to fix this would be to make a request to them to kind of upload and fix it. And if we did make that request, I don't think it would happen anytime soon. So here's some of the things that I like to do. First off, when I click on grades, so if I was to click on my grades and click on grades, I want to come straight to the gradebook. So to do that, I click on settings while I'm either anywhere in the gradebook, and I come down here on my start page, and I like to make that enter grades. So when I click on grades, I don't want to go to manage grades where I can just kind of look at the system. I usually want to go straight to the gradebook, but if you prefer the manage grades site, you can always do that. So I'll just save that. And coming back over here, we'll just push close now. And one other thing to keep in mind is as you click on this, you can change any of the information here. So like number of columns before your user repeats, that's when you start seeing their name appear. You can go more than 5 or less. Number of users before a column header repeats is 10. But once again, if you feel like I need that more often or less often, you can always change those settings here. All right, so that's kind of how you can look at some of the organization. But like I said in here, there's nothing that will allow me to change the number of students so I can see my whole class. So I'm going to go to Manage Grade for a second. So notice that here you can actually see kind of a little bit about each assignment, but once again, I rarely need to look at this page. So I'm just going to go back to Enter Grades, and that's why I have it by default when I click on Grades to go straight to that page. All right, so the next thing I like to do is, because I can only have 20 per page, what I really want to see at the top here are my students that are struggling the most. And then my students that are doing the best would be on page 2. While I can look at them at any time, I don't have to view them, or they don't need as much of my support and facilitation. So to do that, instead of organizing this by last name, what I'm going to do is organize it by the final calculated grade. So I'll click on that, and as I click on that, it'll now organize this according to their grade. And obviously it'll go non-submissions first, and so it looks like as I scroll to the bottom, and you can see how it's taking a little while to load, and that's why they keep it down to 20. So I'll go to page 2 so you can actually see what's going on. And as I go to page 2, and as time goes on in the semester, this will look better and better. So you'll notice that it's now sorting it by the worst grades first. And so by time goes on, I should get about 12 students who are getting A's. So where they're doing just fine in the class, and so it'll sort appropriately. And then on my first page, I'll start seeing the students that are struggling the most at the top. So it starts prioritizing who I spend my time with. So I like to do that to organize it. And then on any of the assignments, what I do is I then grade them on the other page. So I never grade my assignments directly from here. So let's say I want to, I come in here and it's time to grade their learning reports. So I just click on the side here and I say grade all. And as I do that, I scroll down, you notice that this is all of my students. Down here, I could do 50 per page. So I could see, and if by default it's 20 or something less, you can come down, change this to 50 per page. So now I can see all of my students here, and I can quickly grade this assignment by looking at who hasn't done it at any point. You can always click on this one, and once they submit it, then you can click on here to view their submission, and then scroll through it. So anyway, if you have more questions about that, you can let me know later. But this is how I grade each assignment, then I save and close, go back to the gradebook, and from there I move on to the next assignment. So it keeps me organized as far as which area I need to focus on for that particular assignment. I can see the whole class. But when I'm looking at the gradebook, this is mainly for my view to see who hasn't turned in stuff. And even when I put zeros in, I go to that page and just click on zeros in each of the areas who haven't made a submission. Anyway, I hope that helps kind of see how you can organize the gradebook to compensate for this option that you can't have more than 20 per page. Good luck, and let me know if there's any further questions.